Hello, Oracles. Well, we've got Tesla China production numbers popping from November. So we're going to dive right into it right now. We got all of the numbers coming out of China. We had already seen the wholesale numbers coming out of China of just over 100,000 vehicles being delivered. The breakdown of that was 68% of those were domestic and 32% were exports. So that's about 68,000 were domestic deliveries and 32,000 were exports. Out of that, 69,000 of those were Model Ys. So looking at overall numbers from China's retail passenger vehicle sales, they dropped 10.5% month over month from October to November. This is the first drop they had seen since 2008 on a month-over-month basis. Year over year, they are down 9.2% to 1.65 million vehicles being sold. Now, when it comes to their new electric vehicles, or NEVs, these do include hybrids. Those are up over 70% to 730,000. And Tesla had 100,000 of those. And now when we get into production, they produced 106,896 vehicles in November. This is significantly higher than what I had forecasted at just under 90,000. This is a run rate of 25,000 vehicles per week. And so this run rate would put them over 750,000 vehicles being produced for the entire year out of Shanghai alone, and over 280,000 produced for the fourth quarter. My current projections right now are 286,000 vehicles being produced for the quarter out of Shanghai and 767,000 for the year. And my production forecasts for December are based on that 21,000 vehicles per week run rate. So now looking at the production cut rumors that we had earlier this week, thinking about the fact that we are at 25,000 vehicles per week as a run rate based upon the production numbers that we just got, and we know that Tesla had planned to get themselves to about 21,000 vehicles getting produced on a weekly basis after all of the upgrades that they did in July and August for the Model Y and the Model 3 lines. This is telling me that maybe those production cut rumors actually aren't production cut rumors versus they were already overachieving and they are just going to be toning it down to the levels that they were expecting to be running at previously. Now that's going to be a 16% drop, going from 25,000 to 21,000. That could potentially be where these rumors came from. And again, that's not a production cut. That is just them not overachieving. That's truly all it could be. Now again, we still have no clarification. We've got Tesla coming out and denying these rumors as false information, and perhaps that actually is it. Maybe they're really not going to be cutting production. They're still going to be running at 21,000 vehicles per week. We had discussed it before. When it comes to them pushing as hard as they were, perhaps there was a lot of overtime that went into that. So if they cut back to production just to those levels that they were expected to achieve, they could save significant payroll on the bottom line. So that's just my theory on all of this. Again, that's just a speculation based upon the numbers that we just received for the run rates over in Shanghai, but that kind of makes a lot of sense. Now, Ezra Rachaga over on Twitter also chimed in on my comment on this, saying that based upon the 6,000 yuan credit that they had given back in October, this may be something that they just stick with going forward, and perhaps that just wasn't enough as far as they thought it was going to affect when it came to the domestic sales. Again, domestic sales were pretty solid at 68,000. However, this going into the December month means that this is really the heavy focus when it comes to domestic sales. So if domestic sales, because of all the China numbers being down overall because of the economy, if that is the case, then perhaps this is a reason for them to just not overachieve when it comes to production. So you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments on this when it comes to those production rumors, but based upon the numbers we just got, I think that it's not so much that these rumors are untrue, it's just that Tesla is just not going to be overachieving like they had been over this past month, and they're just going to tone it down to their normal expectations, so it's not so much a production cut as much as they're just going back to normal. And now, of course, with all of these production numbers coming out, we can go back to those rumors that we had reported on last night about Tom Zhu and the potential of him becoming the global CEO for Tesla. So we know those rumors came out. A lot of people figured they were not true, but we did just get word that he and an engineering team are in Austin to oversee the ramp going on there. Of course, who better to have overseeing your ramp than the team who has been producing the most and the best when it comes to all of their vehicles. So whether these two tie together, whether he is going to become the CEO or not, definitely he has proven that production is his forte. They are doing extremely well in Shanghai, and based upon Master Plan Part 3, when Elon says it's all coming down to scale, well, production scaling, Shanghai has been proving that they are doing far superior to everyone else when it comes to all of the Tesla factories. So having him come over and oversee things on a global basis makes a lot of sense. If they can get the ramp going in all of their factories, just like they have in Shanghai, then getting them to mass scale is going to happen much faster. And so whether he is actually going to become the global CEO or maybe he just becomes the global production manager or director, that might end up being what happens because clearly he has proven that they do the best. We will wait and see what Tesla has to say on this. I have no doubt we'll hear about some of it on the earnings call, maybe hear about some of it before then, but knowing that he is there, this is great news. Kind of reinforces the fact that we know that Berlin and Austin have been a little bit slower than expected. But again, him coming over there and then timing of it, don't forget, they've got this Cybertruck that is starting to get their production line up and running. We know that they're going to want to crank out as many Cybertrucks as possible. If Tom is going to be overseeing all of global production in the future, he's going to want to have his hands right directly involved when they're setting up these production lines for the Cybertruck. So a lot of this makes a lot of sense with him being over there now, the rumors that we had heard. So again, whether he actually becomes the CEO or just the director of global production management, we shall find out. However, these things are all tying together with Tesla Shanghai producing ridiculous numbers coming out of there, and then him being able to get all of the other factories up and running. Again, we already know that we had a team coming over from Shanghai to Fremont to oversee their production there as well, and now we have heard about Project Highland when it comes to the Model 3 revamp. So Shanghai has proven to be production masters in Tesla, and they're starting to spread that knowledge throughout all of their factories across the world. And so again, I don't think that Tesla China is having a demand problem themselves. I just think that China itself is having a bit of a recession going on and their economy is shrinking. So as we saw with all of their retail sales numbers for their vehicles, that is all coming down. Yes, new electric vehicles are going up and Tesla is grabbing a bigger piece of that market, but that entire market itself is shrinking at the moment just because of the fact that their economy is shrinking at the moment. They're going through right now very similar situations to what here in the US, what we went through back in the 2008 and 2009 housing crisis. We got through that. So I have no doubt that China is going to get through this. It's just going to be a difficult run for them in the near term. And I think over the next 6 to 12 months, we are going to be facing some sort of similar situation on a global basis as well. But again, we will get through this. So again, I mentioned it last night, we will be having Jen Strahan and Vin here on the channel on Friday evening to discuss all of that situation as well, just to kind of give you guys some insight as to what we could be seeing realistically in the economy for the next 6 to 12 months. And now at the time of this recording, Tesla is up about 0.75% pre-market. Not moving much on these numbers out of Shanghai. Obviously, they were good numbers, but we had already known the wholesale numbers. And despite the fact that their production numbers were smashing, I don't think that this is going to really move the market much because the sales are really what the concern is over in China and not so much the production. But for those of us who are looking long term, we know that production is key. So yes, for those of us long term, those production numbers are vital. For some people who are just looking in the near term, they're going to be looking at sales and deliveries. Deliveries obviously are extremely important because it doesn't matter how many you produce. If you're not selling them, it's not going to matter. But Tesla will sell all of these vehicles, so it's just a matter of waiting till they end up getting sold. We are also still waiting to see if China is going to extend their subsidies after the end of this year and maybe push it until June of next year. So we still have to wait to hear about this. If that ends up happening, I think we see some excitement going on in the market as well, and that's going to alleviate some of the stress that's going on with the China demand. If not, Tesla might end up taking that 6,000 yuan credit and use that as a price reduction and carry that forward. Still no confirmation on either one of these, but these are just some speculations that are floating around out there in case you guys haven't heard them yet. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you guys feel about these sales numbers and production numbers coming out of China? Are you happy with these numbers? Would you like to see something different out of them? How would you like to see them going through December when it comes to all of their domestic numbers? And what number do you think that they are going to achieve in December? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat, that link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a membership program and a Patreon. Those links are also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.